So if you've been on YouTube for the past few months, you'll probably be aware of the Dream SMP. The Dream SMP was created by the YouTuber Dream as a way for him and his close friends to play together. Since then, it has transformed into a long-spanning story with wars, politics, and over 40 content creators. However, what I want to talk about is the political ideologies represented by the characters in the Dream SMP, notably Dream, L'Manberg, Schlatt, and Technoblade. If you want to know more about the lore of the Dream SMP, you can watch this really cool video that goes into it. I'll be sure to link it in the top of the description. Without further ado, this is Political Ideologies explained using the Dream SMP. Also, according to YouTube statistics, only a small percentage of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. I'm sure you are, but if you aren't, please subscribe. It's free, and it helps me out a lot. Enjoy the video. Communism is one of the most complicated political ideologies around. This can most likely be attributed to the fact that it's relatively recent creation and has had drastically different ways it's been attempted. Notable examples of communism are the Soviet Union and China. However, if you were to use the actual definition of communism, neither of these nations would be considered communist. Thus, many argue that communism hasn't ever actually been realized. Communism is a political ideology advocating class war and leading to a society in which all property is publicly owned and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. If you were to explain communism in terms of the Dream SMP, you'd find that a more primitive version of communism would be displayed. In real life, a government would own all and supply resources, whereas in the early stages of the Dream SMP, Dream himself would supply the needs of the server. Using this definition, you could argue that the Dream SMP, like all societies, likely began with a cooperative commune, i.e., communism. While others on the Dream SMP have claimed to be communist, I found that after close examination, the most accurate form of communism found on the Dream SMP was the early stages of the server. Revolutionary republics are governments created during a revolution or revolt. These governments are made during transitions away from larger powers. Examples of such are Ireland, France, and even America, which were all founded using revolutionary republics. Revolutionary republics are defined as a form of government whose main tenets are popular sovereignty, rule of law, and representative democracy. The Dream SMP equivalent of this is, of course, L'Manberg. L'Manberg was a nation founded by Wilbur Soot and Tommy Innit. L'Manberg's policies are roughly freedom, clothing restrictions, and the right to gain its sovereignty from the Dream SMP. This most closely resembles the markings of a revolutionary republic turned authoritarian government. An authoritarian government favors or enforces strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government, at the expense of personal freedom. Since L'Manberg had a sole dictator, Wilbur Soot, it then transformed into an authoritarian government, valuing strict law and order above all else. Democracy is by and large the most popular system of government in the world. And why wouldn't it be? Democracy gives the people the power to pick who controls the government. Notable examples of democracy are the US and basically most of Europe. Democracy is defined as a system of government by the whole population or all eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. The representation of this in the Dream SMP is Schlatt. Although Schlatt rules rather authoritarian, he still was democratically elected, and thus is still an example of democracy. In opposition to this is Wilbur, who establishes himself as a leader of the nation, and Tommy as his right-hand man. Although Wilbur has good intention, he was not the people's president, this being the biggest difference between a democracy and an authoritarian government. Anarchy is the idea that any form of government should be abolished and that society should solely be organized by the people in a much more direct form than democracy. Anarchy is defined as a political philosophy and movement that is skeptical of authority and rejects all involuntary, coercive forms of heresy. While in the real world, anarchism is very problematic and harmful, in the context of a server or a video game, anarchy may seem to be more reasonable. The people on the Dream SMP who occupy this belief are Technoblade and Philza. One of the very first phrases Technoblade said on the Dream SMP was Anarchy Pog. Technoblade believes that all of L'Manberg's problems lie in the fact that they have a government at all. Technoblade has committed multiple acts of terror towards L'Manberg, went so far as to immediately turn against his allies when they reinstilled themselves as leaders of the nation, instead of just dismantling the dictatorship. Overall, the Dream SMP has become a powerful tool, not just for storytelling, but also for political reflection. While not inherently complex in its subject matter, the Dream SMP creates a graspable understanding of political systems and ideologies. The Dream SMP truly does explain the internal and external struggles of many political and ideological infrastructures that fill our society. So that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Took a while to make. Make sure you check it out and check out my other videos. I put a lot of time into it and I'd really appreciate it. Alright, thanks. See you guys in the next one.